All right, so let's do a trade day recap for Wednesday, November 26th on NASDAQ futures. I guess first, before that, if you're interested, Apex Trader Funding is running a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, and it's not that bad of a deal in my opinion. I actually run Apex accounts. It's what I got all up over here. You can see I'm actually flat on the day, but these are all Apex accounts. If you don't want to risk your money, put your money up, and you want to trade with other people's money, which is what I do, check out Apex. I like them. They've been pretty good for me so far. They have 100K accounts, which are only like $50, and then a $10 activation fee. So for $60, you could have 100K in funding. Pretty good deal. Link below the video. But moving on to the trade day recap. So yeah, flat on the day, and there's just something I want to show you that's been kind of grinding my gears lately. Where do I want to start with this? Maybe I'll start off the chart and in a spreadsheet. So here's one of my spreadsheets, right? Makes no sense to you, I know. But basically what I was looking at is I was evaluating the trade characteristics of wins and losses. So here's all my losses. Here's all my wins. These are actual trades I've taken. I looked at like if they were with the trend. I looked at which model. I looked at the shape and the momentum. I looked at liquidity within the model, local sweeps. I looked for fair value gaps within the distribution leg I was looking at trading. I looked at, is there a volume imbalance? I looked at the size of the IFVGs. And so I looked at all of this stuff. And what I ended up discovering was the likelihood of certain characteristics. Like, take, for example, of my winning trades on the distribution leg, 59% had unfilled fair value gaps. So there's a characteristic that I should probably consider looking for in a winning trade. Now let's go compare that to the losing trades, right? Same column. And right, the other number I wanted to look at was 11% had no fair value gaps. Well, if I go to my losing trades, almost 30% had no fair value gaps. So right there is an indication for, how to grade a setup, A plus, B. If there's no fair value gaps on the distribution leg, then, well, it's probably slightly lower probability. And so I pulled together all this information and I came up with, what is my perfect setup? And like, for example, the liquidity below, 88% of my winners did not have liquidity resting below. Like, that's a big deal. And so smooth edges would be like this. If I was going to long right here, this inversion, there's all this smooth edges. So I wouldn't really want to see that. So anyways, that's a long-winded explanation or start of an explanation as to what's been grinding my gears is now that my mind is like looking for these perfect setups. And I can look back at a lot of my losses and I kind of like a good chunk of them, I printed them all out, and probably half of my losses, I was kind of looking at them in hindsight going like, that's not that great. That's not that great of a setup, right? So therefore it was more emotional. It was, I'm FOMO. I need to take this trade even if it's not anywhere close to nice. Well, now I feel like I've gone the other way and I'm looking for perfect almost, and then I'm getting so few trades. And this is also showing up in my back testing I'm doing too. So I haven't fully sorted it out. But basically today, let's dive into what happened. 9:30 opened. I noticed YM gave a really nice long, and I was kind of eyeballing it. I don't trade YM, but it was a beautiful setup. And I was more bullish on the day. However, we came into the previous month's equilibrium, and there was a inversion kind of thing right here, a tiny inversion. I was kind of weighing on entering on it. I know one of my mentors entered on this guy right here. Right here, this little inversion. And so he saw it too. He took it. I didn't. It would have played out for 2R, but it wasn't clear. Like, it was such a tiny inversion. and it looked like it was high resistance liquidity run because it wasn't really wanting to go anywhere. It was staying within opening range, so I didn't engage. And then come down into here, and we're starting to create the framework for a long, which is more so what I wanted, except for I wanted these lows to be taken. I wanted price to come down into here, and it didn't do that. So not all the criteria was met, and while it formed a nice looking inversion, like I would have probably, entered like this, then it just grinded forever. So high resistance. And for where I would have placed my stop, probably there, maybe there. Either way, I probably would have been stopped out before it decided to turn into low resistance run for my ultimate target. And that was also the other reason why I was a little hesitant to short up here, is this was the previous month's equilibrium. I was kind of wanting to see this liquidity taken. So those two I didn't get into. Here was a short at 1150 macro kind of thing. And it was against order flow. There was no SMT and it was outside of macro. So I just let it go. Ended up playing out for 2R. And then I didn't trade the PM session. This is day before a banking holiday. So I didn't expect much more than sideways price action. And you can see that's what we got, a sideways price action. So yeah, I guess the big thing being I'm kind of struggling with perfect. So many people I follow talk about perfect, and they say when your model's perfect, right? And when they say when it's obvious. And I'm finding the more I'm trying to figure out what perfect and obvious is, the harder it's becoming, actually. Whereas before, I just kind of guess I was like, it was almost like, like this is good enough. And it really wasn't. So, and I'm still watching one of my mentors, and he's profitable, and watching how he grades these setups perfect that I wouldn't grade perfect. And so I need to figure that out for me, and I'm working through it, live trading and backtesting, being a little more liberal in my trading and taking imperfect, which is so against what my data just showed. My data just showed me imperfect trades tend to lose, but then I'm feeling like I take no trades. I've taken so few trades lately live, and one trade a day. Like I missed a day today, and tomorrow's a banking holiday, so it just gets a little difficult, I guess, because I wonder if I'm messing myself up by looking for too perfect. But I also wonder what's there. Like if my data shows me that the cleaner the trade is, the higher win rate it has, why wouldn't I wait? But then I'm waiting for, it seems like forever. And it doesn't, I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't appear to actually be working in real time. So while in my mind it's a good idea to sift through my trades, find what works, and just do that in real time, it's not quite matching up yet. So yeah, I don't know. Don't have an answer to that. I'll figure it out. I'm working through it, and I think I'm onto something, which is good. And if anything, the thing that I'm seeing is like, I feel like I could take about any setup I see and I would have an above 50% win rate, which is really great to see. And maybe that's the lesson, maybe as the pendulum swings from one extreme to the next, I was at the extreme of taking anything that looks slightly like my model, and now I'm pendulum swung over to the far side, and I'm not taking very many trades at all. And I'm going to come back to this equilibrium of having some more flexibility and being able to suss out the imperfect setups that I do want to take. So that's a really long-winded explanation of my experience today, I guess, and why I saw these setups, didn't engage, and I'm flat on the day, which that's a position too. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. So I need to find that balance, and I'll get there. It's just another day trading. I'm here for the process. I'm here to perfect it. I'm not rushing. I'm not trying to get anywhere by any certain point of time. I'm just trying to become really good at my craft. Maybe I'm a little slower than other people. I feel like That's actually the fact. For as much as I'm into like the data and the perfection, I see people out there who are quicker than me, and it does get frustrating at times. So I've actually signed out on most social media. I'm not really paying attention anymore because it messes with your mind. And right now I'm just here just to perfect my craft. So I think that's enough. I'll catch y'all in the next update.